Another day, another ride. Hello dear viewer. I already know I have to return to Romania, not just to visit my friends again, but also to see more of the country. There's so much culture and nature to be had. The time I have is simply not enough to see everything I want to see, and that also applies to Buzau. Gabriel has given me some tips on places worth visiting and roads I absolutely must ride. Therefore, today's route heads towards Buzau, where there are several sites. The distance is approximately 119 kilometers. The first part of the road was again on straight road through largely agricultural landscape. As I got closer to the mountains, the landscape became more enjoyable to ride through. It climbed slowly but steadily, so I found myself above 1000 meters without even realizing it. Unfortunately, I frequently encountered traffic jams, as the road ran through places with numerous pedestrian crossings and there were a lot of people using these. This slowed me down quite a bit, but luckily I was able to drive past the traffic jams in some sections. I felt sorry for the drivers. Near Buzau, I looked for a campsite. The closest one was in Harman. Upon arrival, I discovered there were also rooms for rent in the old rectory belonging to the campsite. Given the price and the fact that thunderstorms were forecast for the evening, I opted for this one. Thanks to the building's thick walls, it was pleasantly cool in the room, despite the high temperature and the lack of air conditioning. I hadn't heard the knock on my door and the call room service just after 8 a.m. because I was still asleep. A little later I woke up, and while I was still rubbing the sleep from my eyes, I received a message from Gabriel asking where I was. He included photos which I didn't directly relate to my location. But what a surprise! Gabriel gotten in his car during the night to drive the 400 plus kilometers to Harman and visit me. He was afraid I wouldn't bother visiting Buzau, and since it's an important city for him, one he has visited regularly since childhood, he felt he should show me around. It turned out to be a bit of a whirlwind visit, as Playona Buzau was also a must-see. Although I initially doubted whether it was worth taking the cable car up the mountain, I have absolutely no regrets. What a view from there! In the afternoon I also visited the fortified church Helinox. As a camping guest I got in for free, but I donated the entrance fee. Climbing the tower wasn't easy with the booklet and my camera in one hand. In my opinion, the murals in the chapel tower are very impressive. And Gabriel, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you.